Welcome inside the studio with Hubbard Street Dance Chicago.
There's so many things that I'm excited about bringing Impasse into our rep. Number one is Johan Inger. Johan Inger is a critically acclaimed choreographer. We did Johan Inger's work back in 2008, and so that was a completely different generation from the dancers that we have now. And his work is just intriguing and beautiful, and so it's really nice to have this generation of Hubbard Street do his work.
My first exposure to contemporary dance was Johan Inger's work. I was in a ballet company and I came to audition for Hubbard Street in 2009, and a part of the audition was Walking Mad. And it was, a phrase from that was in the audition, then we learned it in the summer intensive, and then actually my first performance ever at the Harris stage with Hubbard Street, we did Walking Mad. So it feels, it just is 15 years, and to come back to this sort of language and this sort of movement just feels so good.
This is another opportunity to get Hubbard Street audiences to see his work. I'm excited for the dancers to do his work. It is a really fun and energetic and engaging work.
It's a very theatrical piece. It requires presence, it requires interpretation, it requires sensitivity, it requires to feel the real thing. And they really are really professionals in tapping into the spirit of the work.
It's just been exciting learning from Fernando because he's obviously very well versed in the language, in the piece, and the theatrics of everything. And so getting to be a part of like dissecting each layer of what the piece is able to bring. It's been really pivotal, I think, for me to be able to be a part of this world and how we're kind of sculpting and finding pieces of ourselves within work that's already been set, already been placed on another company, but it feels very fresh and it feels very new. And it also feels like it is ours. Like it doesn't feel like we're taking from someone else or that it's being like reset, even though it's being like restaged. It does feel like it belongs to us already.
It feels refreshed. It feels refreshed. It doesn't feel like a piece that has been already created. It feels like we are taking this new chapter with these new artists, and there's still a lot to explore and to deepen into the work. And I think this is what we are doing right now. And they are so open-minded about receiving the work, about exploring all the possibilities.
Yeah, I think the first time we kind of went through a large group phrase, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I did. But then, you know, as it sinks in your body more and you find easier ways of approaching it, it's much easier, but in the beginning, oof.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, like, with that, the triumph, I think, was when it was completed. We didn't know that it was done. We didn't know that we learned all of the steps, and we also been learning, like, each track. So then we knew that we were about, like, 80% done, maybe, like, last Thursday or something. And then earlier this week, or maybe it was even Friday, then we got to Friday, and he was like, that's the piece, we've done it. And we were all just like, what do you mean? We're like, how did we already do this full piece? And everyone has, yeah, just like so many parts of themselves that are just already showing up. And then there's also, because we learned every track, just seeing people kind of like step into different roles and seeing people like moving around. It's just nice like watching it happen, also like being a part of it happening at the same time.
Oh my God, there's a cast of characters in Impasse. So maybe you'll be able to identify with one of the 14 different characters that you'll be able to see in Impasse.
They should identify a process, and a process of transformation, and where that process leads to. And just think about themselves and their own lives and human behavior and yeah, and the power of dance to be able to communicate certain messages.
There's just such joy to it. There's such fun.
So I'm hoping that with all of these elements coming together, that they stay with us and that they're like just as excited, just as like in tune with like all these fine details and like all these little moments in the same way that we're learning to be in this process.
Everything has been so pleasant. Working here has been such a joy so far. And I come to the studio with a big smile every morning, and that's what I can share. I think I feel inspired by every single one of the artists and their sense of commitment towards the work. And I'm very much looking forward to see this piece back on stage.